Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. This is the Nosler Model 21 in 308 Winchester. Trigger is crisp, bolt operation is light, 90-degree lift. Hit my hat on one of the occasions, but that's that. Two-position safety cat, so it doesn't lock the bolt. Put it on safe, that's bolt not locked. We've got a large tactile cock-tactile indicator there, and the bolt removal is on the left. I'm not sure what brand of trigger that is, but perhaps it's a Trigger Tech or something like that. We'll find out when we dismantle the rifle. What else is in the ammunition box of joy? This stuff's beautiful. This is 178 grain Hornady Precision Hunter. I've got 4 rounds of this left. Let's try these. I've been shooting this for well over 5 years on and off, and it does usually work very well, but it's a fairly light rifle. It's short in the stock and it is a 178 grain bullet, so it might get a bit lively. Yeah, I think really all we're doing at the moment is just running the barrel in. It's sort of consistent per point of impact, obviously different bullet weights, gone from 125 to 178 grain, so we were never going to maintain zero as such. I'll leave it to cool down for a bit now, give it a clean, and then try some different ammo when we replace the target. Next is Norma Evo Strike in 308, 139 grains. Making sure it doesn't get too hot. Barrel's fairly stiff, we're not getting any intermittent contact, it's free floating. Last ammunition will be Celio & Bello Blue TXRG bullets. This is 110 grains. Ammunition is clips in the top like that, and then when you want to empty it out, just push the button in the front of the trigger guard and they'll all just drop clear like that. Click it back up and you can go again. Advantage of something like this is you can never lose it, and if you need to just top up a single round, it's straight in. I think we found the ammunition this gun likes. So you've seen me shoot the rifle, so as we said, this is the Nosler Model 21 and it's in 308 Winchester. The rifle's available in 6.5 Creedmoor, as well as a plethora of Nosler calibers, 26, 27, 28, 30 and 33 Nosler, as well as a 280 Ackley, and you can have it in the more conventional 300 Win Mag, and of course the large 375 Holland & Holland. Essentially, The interesting points about this rifle mainly start, you've got a number 3 contour Schillen barrel. Now this is a stainless steel barrel, but like the Action, it's been Cerakoted, so you get an even sort of dull grey colour to it. It's a totally matte coating, so it doesn't pick up skin dust, it doesn't reflect anything, it's very, very nice. The stock is carbon fibre. The fore end is fully free floating, and although it's very slim, it does give a very stiff performance and it keeps that full free float. It's maintained in all positions. If you do happen to use it in a clamp tripod, it will clamp in fine. The fore end stud is well bonded in place. It's got a metal anchor inside, so you can load that if you need to. It's not going to break, it's not going to damage anything, so I'm very happy with that. This 308's got a 10-inch twist barrel, so it'll stabilise most bullet weights. It did perform very nicely with the heavier 178 grain Hornady Precision Hunter, and also some Cellier & Bellow Blue non-toxic or lead-free. They're only 110 grain, but of course because they're only copper, they're much longer bullets. Worked okay with those. I would say that with all ammunition used, it did, well, nearly all the ammunition used, it did break the MOA standard for 3 rounds. I wouldn't say it was the easiest tack driving rifle to shoot, but it certainly worked, and in a hunting scenario, I didn't actually hunt with it, there were no deer when I went out, but it works just fine, and it will work just fine for that. Other details about the rifle, that both the receiver and the bolt are EDM machined from 4340 chrome moly steel. Now, EDM machining is basically spark erosion sort of thing, and it does mean that you can have a billet of steel which is correctly heat treated, and really as you're going to have it finished and then machine it, and it doesn't have to be reheat treated, which could of course affect dimensions, so you do get very good dimensional stability. It's a very expensive process, and of course it's all computer controlled, but that's the modern life. This rifle from Nosler is essentially a Remington 700 footprint, so it's a Macmillan Hunter's Edge, I think the stock's called. It's a Macmillan stock, but because it's a short action Remington 700 inlet, the only real difference from a Remington 700 is the fact that the trigger, which is a trigger tech, is on a hanging mechanism rather than the 2 pins that go through the side of the action like on a Remington 700. The magazine uses a floor plate system, so click it, they'll drop out the bottom, you feed them in and click them down from the top. In this, which is the 308 or the 6.5 Creedmoor, it will hold 4 cartridges in the actual BDL type magazine. If you go for one of the larger Magnum chambers, it goes down to 3, and of course long action as it is. The bolt is actually quite interesting. Looking at it visually, you see it's actually a hexagonal profile, and that means you've reduced a lot of material, and also you've made the bearing surfaces far less friction dependent, so you actually get a much smoother, faster travel bolt. Now this is nitride coated, so you don't get any kind of bimetallic corrosion or galling or anything with the Cerakote on the receiver itself. The lugs, I say, it's 2 lug bolts, it's 90-degree lift, it's got a long M16 style extractor claw which draws the case out of the chamber. There's plenty of primary extraction with it, and it's an automated ejector. It's a push feed bolt, so the cartridge head fits in there quite simply, and you go close it down and it shuts 90 degrees. Conventional 2 lug bolt arrangement. On the side here we've got the extractor claw, that pops out, and well, I can't really do it in that position, but if I hold the bolt off the actual floor, pop that down, the bolt comes out, back in. The trigger is, as I say, a trigger tech. It's adjustable 2.5 to 5 pounds, which is, I think, 1,100 to 2,200 grams. This one weighed 1,670, I think, when I was using it. Very crisp, nice to use, nice slim 7mm wide black blade. These trigger techs, I've used them quite a lot, and they're always reliable. I'm very happy with them. And as you may have said earlier, this one is actually on a hanging mechanism because it doesn't fit in with the 2 pins in quite the same way into the receiver that Remington 700 does, but the trigger itself is identical to that. Safety catches on the side here. It doesn't lock the bolt because it does lock the firing mechanism, but some people would prefer a locking bolt. I must admit I sort of prefer locking bolts, but there we go, that's just the way of the world. It's a full carbon fibre stock. Now this surface finish on it is actually, it's very rough, but it's very rough in a good way, and it's been done that way, so it's actually very grippy. You can hear it rubbing on my hands. It's like sandpaper almost, not uncomfortably so, but certainly in terms of tactile perception, especially when you're in wet conditions or you've got mud and things like that floating around, which you don't want. The bottom metal is all steel, magazine mechanism is steel. And the only other thing really is we've got a Pachmayr decelerator recoil pad at the back, which is bonded to the stock. That's one of my minor sort of things I don't like about this gun. Because it's bonded to the stock and the length of pull's 13.5 inches, which is 343mm, it's rather short to shoot, and although I only really used it mostly from the bench, I said took it out hunting, but I didn't get any deer with it, I just didn't see anything that night. It's quite short in the shoulder. Now with a smaller scope it will be less noticeable, but this is the Xerotech scope that was sent with the rifle to me by Hound Outdoors to review the rifle with. It's certainly shootable, but like any rifle, certain rifles will suit some shooters better than others. If you want a bigger rifle, you want a bigger rifle. It's also designed to be quite a lightweight gun. It only weighs literally a smidge over 3 kilograms, which is £6 10 ounces. So it's quite fast handling. It's screw cut at the front, 5/8 by 24 for a moderator. So that obviously does give it a slightly forward heavy balance, but that's just one of those things you accept if you want a moderator on. It's shot fine from the bench, it shoots very well from sticks or from improvised positions, and as I say, because the forend is stiff, you don't get any intermittent barrel contact, doesn't affect zero position. Although it didn't plug the tiniest holes in paper, it certainly consistently, for larger groups of ammunition, maintained point of impact, but of course you'll see on the target, changing bullet weight, changing ammunition during the trial procedure, you do get zero shift between ammo types. But I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. The slung studs are all tightly attached, everything seems solid, nothing broke, everything mechanical works just fine. Just a case of the fact that it's a bit small for me. I prefer sort of 14 to 14¼ inch length to pull, and you know, if you're going to be picky, it does make a difference if that's what suits you, so that's what suits you. Recommended retail price on the rifle is £3,249. It is quite an expensive gun, and it's certainly nothing that any of your friends are likely to own, because they're quite uncommon, quite unusual. You're not going to see many of them around in the UK, because it's an American-made gun for the American market specifically. It's kind of got that mountain rifle type of feel about it. So if that's what appeals to you, there you go. That is the Nosler Model 21. Well, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, and stick with me because there are regular uploads every week. If you go all the way through to the end of the video, you'll see links to a couple of other websites who are advertising with me and sponsoring my channel, which helps me get more content to you. And do please click the link on the British Shooting Show for 2024. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.